guys, what's going on, everybody? It's me, Thomas. Tonight we're back here with Puppet History, and today, it's apparently the season finale. So we got the deadly race to the South Pole. No North Pole here, just the South. So, you got a blanket and a parka, you're gonna need it. How deadly? I guess things don't go well when you're the first person to get there, huh? So let's see this race and see who wins. Be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Before you ask, no, I didn't know about it ahead of time. Got my board as always. Let's see how we do. Let's go. Let's begin.
Hello! Welcome one and all to the season finale of Puppet History. Today we'll be taking an ever-wondering look at yet another chapter in the heavy book we call history, while our guests ruthlessly compete for the coveted title of History Wizard. I'm your beloved host, the Professor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh,
howdy. Ready to go, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good to go. Season finale, huh?
Yeah, can you believe it?
Nothing crazy gonna happen?
I mean, it seems like it. I think we made it out of this one with all of our souls and bodies intact.
Well, I've heard that before.
Oh, special
Don't jinx it yet.
Sarah Robin, our returning champ. Are you ready?
I am ready. Professor, you grew a bit.
I got big.
You're a little bit bigger.
But the funny thing is,
bigger.
I'm still just a little guy.
That's so true. You have little guy vibes. Also, History Wizard.
Fine.
Yeah.
That's an upgrade from History Master.
I think so.
You get magic like powers that let you
if only.
or rewrite it in some way.
Well, sort of.
I think
Let's not go there. We don't need the genie after us.
Pointy.
Yeah, it's just a hat.
Well, no.
more like a
Trucker hat
that you would find at a gas station, but you know.
Yeah, fair.
Not exactly the hat I associate with a wizard, but
Well, it seems
Hey, he
like
came
you
up with
two
one.
are ready to go. Season finale.
Let's crack
Let's
in!
crack in.
Here we go.
All right, now to begin, hey, which do you prefer, the cold or the heat?
I like the heat a little bit more, but if we're talking about
normally
either
heat,
in
but
extremes,
right now,
probably the
for-
cold.
Yeah.
Really
Because
would love the
there's nothing
cold.
you can do to get less hot, other than get naked, but that's frowned upon.
like the idea of freezing to death is much more appealing to me than like dying of heat. I'd be preserved,
Yeah.
etc.
You look good.
I don't know what that
hot. You probably
bad.
get all bubbly.
Yeah, and
You
probably
know?
What to
like
say?
animals are more
What do you
likely
guys
to
think?
munch on
Heat,
you.
cold? Let me know.
I wouldn't want them to find my dead, naked, frozen body.
Well, our story today
Like the
takes
Tars?
place in the cold, the very cold. In fact, most of our story is set in the coldest place on Earth. Put a cup of cocoa on. Today
Here we
we're
go,
talking
Antarctica.
about the race to the bottom, aka the race to the South Pole.
Never heard about this.
You never heard about the South Pole?
I mean, I've heard about it. I didn't know there was a race to it.
Is that where Krampus lives?
Well, I guess that would make sense, huh?
There's penguins there.
Lots of penguins.
Oh, and they have a little highway.
Oh, Antarctica.
That'd be funny.
That long white streak at the bottom of maps. It's a bit hard to parse thanks to that old son of a bitch, the Mercator projection. But the whole continent is
Yeah,
about
you really can't see
1.4
it.
times the size of the U.S., including Alaska, and is home to 70% of the planet's freshwater, locked away as ice.
I mean, not for long.
Well,
Yeah, that's right. Global warming.
You ever seen the movie Waterworld?
Well, you know what? It's important we talk about that. Good for you
It
for
is.
reminding people.
I'm not saying like, ooh, I'm so excited for all that ice to be water.
Waterworld does kick ass, though. I'm excited to ride around on ski-doos and shoot
Dude.
people with guns. In
Maybe.
1773...
It depends how the world handles that. I don't know if we actually would get Waterworld. That's up to you guys. Still, love the land, though, more than that. Anyway.
Captain James Cook became the first to cross the Antarctic Circle. While he never spotted land, he noticed rocks and the icebergs floating about, convincing him a continent did exist, though, as he would put it, quote, "I make bold to declare the world will derive no benefit from it." After that, the
Ouch.
world was in zero rush to confirm or deny the existence of a useless place. It wasn't until 1820 when Russian Navy Captain Thaddeus von Bellingshausen first spotted actual land, technically becoming the only person in recorded history to discover a new continent, as it was the only one with no native population. Would you eat a penguin?
I would not eat a penguin. I don't like eating birds that are in suits.
For the next 100 years,
I don't know, hard to
some
say.
whaling and sealing ships would bop around, but it wasn't until the 6th International Geographical Congress in 1895 in London that the professional explorers really started stealing glances at our planet's juicy bottom, calling Antarctica, quote, the greatest piece of geographical exploration still to be undertaken. Basically, they were running out of new places to geograph.
And yet we still haven't explored most of the ocean. What is it, like
That is
95% or some shit like that?
You want to go down there?
Hell no.
I think most of the
Do you want to go
explorations-
down there?
No, I'm afraid of fish.
find your
Don't
precious-
use that against me.
He will.
Flying fish!
That's a message to everybody out there. Do not use that against me.
Please don't mail her fish.
Oh, I'm gonna
No,
go
mail
off.
me fish, but don't put a fish in my bed.
That's exactly what I was thinking of doing.
Okay.
I imagine like anyone was just like, flying fish! Ah! I don't know, just attack her with a fish. I don't know, is it just picturing that happening? I don't know why, but it's just what popped into my head. Just toss that fish at her. I don't know what type of fish, but I'll figure something out. Moving along.
Hey, moving right along.
Oh.
Nay. Oh, there.
Huh?
Hey,
Hi.
Elmer Walter. Everything all right?
Walter, right?
Selma Walter Williams to you, sir. Have you seen my
Walter Williams.
bride, Dorothy Ruth? No, I haven't.
Not that I've heard,
Today
no.
the big day? Yes. And the wedding's in a couple hours. I must be off. Nay.
Uh-oh.
Guys,
Well, that happened.
Anyway. Ooh.
Sneaky.
What? Hmm?
Oh, hey.
What the?
That's you, Dorothy Ruth?
Dorothy?
Who's Dorothy Ruth?
Sorry.
You.
Oh, okay, you found me, Professor.
Oh, wait, hang on
What
a
is
second.
going
I just saw
on here?
Elmer Walter looking for you.
But,
Are
yeah,
you pulling a
what
runaway
happened?
bride?
yes, but for good reason. I had a dream last night that my sweet Stanley Melvin, well, he wasn't alive, no, but he wasn't dead either. He was sort of cosmically
ghost?
betwixt, but oh, it felt real as rain. I looked into his molasses-covered eyes and nuzzled his molasses-covered mane
okay.
and breathed in the sickly sweet scent of molasses. It felt too good to be true. And then
Yeah.
I woke up, but I can't quite shake the feeling that he's out there somewhere. So I'm leaping clear off the grid now, and I'm gonna find him, even though that means leaving my dim-wit fiance at the altar.
I mean, I did see the guy drown in molasses. You really think Stanley's alive?
I don't know, man. Anyway, I want to shout out today's episode sponsor, NordVPN, for helping me on my journey. I just got a sweet exclusive deal via this link on the screen. Now, while I'm on the run, I need to maintain privacy and protect my online activity. And NordVPN creates an encrypted network that hides my dedicated IP address and keeps nosy Nellies from intercepting my data.
Oh, wow. Your NordVPN account sounds like it feels super safe and secure.
Duh, Professor. And one NordVPN account protects up to 6 devices and includes 24/7 customer service support.
Well, it sounds like they've got your back.
Just like
Amen.
Yes.
Stanley.
Just like my Stanley did. It just,
Oh, boy.
just wasn't feeling the same with Elmer Walter. He was always asking me for my bank account information.
Well, that's concerning.
It was sus as
Yeah,
hell, but
sounds like
now with
Elmer
my
here is a
reliable
bit of a
NordVPN,
fraudster.
I've got all
Fraudster.
these amazing cybersecurity tools like NordPass to access all my passwords, Data Breach Scanner to send me alerts if any sensitive information gets exposed, and an encrypted cloud storage app called NordLocker. Best thing is I didn't even have to download a new app on this burner phone to set it up.
It looks like you're all set to hit the road.
Oh, Professor, this
Good luck.
VPN is the fastest on the planet. You can join me too. Get this exclusive NordVPN deal via the link below for a 2-year plan and an additional 4 extra months. It's risk-free now with a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Nice. So, where you headed?
Oh, Professor, you know very well I can't divulge that information. But let's just say it rhymes with schmurgatory.
All right, Dorothy.
Purgatory.
Well, don't
Okay,
forget
good
a
luck.
coat and good luck.
Okay,
I bid you adieu.
goodbye. Okay.
Well, those two are off on the
With
your
the
date.
world's ear now trained for news of Antarctica, in August of 1897, Belgian naval officer Adrian Victor Joseph de Gerlache de Gumry set off on an
It's
old
two
whaling
delays.
ship he'd bought called the Belgica. With him was a
Belgica.
crew of 19, speaking 5 different languages, none more valuable than 25-year-old first mate Raoul Amundsen. Raoul Engelbrecht Gravning Amundsen was born July 16, 1872 in Borg, Norway. At age 15, Amundsen read about Sir John Franklin, a British explorer who had searched the Arctic for a northwest passage. Between Franklin and the famous Norwegian Fridtjof Nansen, Amundsen became so captivated by Arctic explorers that he began dedicating his whole life to
Man,
preparing
didn't
for a
he get
similar
stuck
life
in the ice?
cold. For instance, by sleeping with his windows open to get used to the frigid Norwegian nights.
Damn, that's metal. I tried doing one of those.
Yeah, that
cold
does sound
plunges
pretty
recently.
cold.
I lasted 10 seconds.
Well,
It was very cold, and I was scared I was going to have a heart attack.
why did you do this?
Well, because apparently it's supposed to be good for anxiety and mental health, and it like improves circulation. All those, woohoo things.
I have a good remedy.
I don't
for
know.
anxiety.
Hard to say about
So
that.
you get a little blanket, and you get a little tea, and then you watch Wally.
Wally!
So that's the Sarah Rubin method.
By the time he
fair.
was 25 and setting off on the Belgica, he'd already been on a seal hunting excursion in the Arctic and lost in the mountains of Norway for days without food. If ever there was someone prepared to thrive in the Antarctic, it was Amundsen. Even still, Amundsen's trip would prove to be a trying one. During a January storm, a man was lost overboard on
Bye.
Amundsen's watch. By February of 1898, the Belgica was repeatedly getting
one.
stuck in ice for days at a time. On March 6th, the Belgica got stuck in the ice and simply wouldn't budge. This was not the plan. They were not outfitted to stay for the sunless winter. As Amundsen wrote on March 11th, things were, quote, starting to get interesting.
It's gotta suck to
That's
journal
how
when
he
you're so cold.
Phrased that? He lost a guy overboard,
Yeah,
and
can
now
you
they're
imagine
stuck.
being like, I can't.
This is starting to get interesting.
Let's write about it.
I wonder if they made any like snowmen on the deck.
I don't.
Probably the last thing on their minds.
About-
Yeah, yikes. Like, seriously. You lost a guy overboard, and now they're stuck, and he's thinking, starting to get interesting. Dude, kind of stuck there. No one's gonna know what you did unless you get back. Good luck, buddy. You're gonna need it. Caramba. I wonder how he's gonna get out of this one. So far, no race to the South Pole yet.
About 8 months into the trip, on April 1st, Amundsen was brainstorming a solution, which included he and another man spending 6 weeks looking for an iceberg to winter on, eating penguins and seals for months until the weather turned, then eventually paddling a kayak to Australia. It never would have worked, though the crew did resort to eating seals and penguins to stay alive. Amundsen loved
Poor
it,
seals.
writing how one could, quote, take the meat
Take the
as
meat,
it is and put it in the
put it in
pan
the
with
pan.
a little butter, and you have the most delicious steak you could wish for.
Penguins look fatty, so I imagine it would be very tasty.
Are we talking about the seal or the penguins?
Like, yeah, like I'm glad they're not eating each other.
If
but-
we were on a boat together, Sarah, and I died of natural causes,
Okay, what kind of boat? Like what
this
kind
kind of boat,
Big
Okay,
boat.
like a big ship.
like a
Big
big ship, we were
Okay.
the last two left, and then
Who's
I
the
died.
captain?
The captain's dead.
Well, you're
Okay.
the captain now.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we're technically
I'm
covered
the
at
captain.
Okay,
that
great.
point. But when I die, you would eat me, right? If I-
What did you die of? Because I feel like if you died of like something gross,
Worms.
Of exposure from the cold.
Okay, or that.
I'm probably gonna
That
die
works, that
too.
works.
So is it even worth it?
But then you could always, fulfill that lifelong question: what does a human taste like?
I don't really have that.
We even want to know what that tastes like.
That was a test. That was a test.
Yeah,
It was a
test.
test.
In early 1899, as summer returned in the southern hemisphere, the Belgica finally made it back to open water. They hadn't even come close to the South Pole. Really, they'd barely even tried. But Amundsen had
I don't think that was the
thrived.
point.
As he wrote in his diary, quote, the summer night and the winter night at home are beautiful, but they do not seem as
What
captivating.
the fuck?
What?
What happened?
No one see that?
What?
You what?
Water just dripped on me.
That scared the shit out of me.
It scared the
though.
shit out of me.
You scared me because there's a little ghost right there.
No, my whole shoulder's wet.
You got a wet shoulder?
Wait, let me touch. I don't feel it.
What are you talking about? There's some sort of leak up there, maybe.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
I
you're-
see it. Yeah. Oh, you
No!
saw that one, right?
Right in the
Look at my
face.
face. Look at my face. Look at my face.
Yeah, there's some water on
I'm
it.
like looking
Water
up
on
there
his face.
too.
I was like, hey, I see the. Oh.
As he wrote in his
You
diary,
okay there?
quote, the summer
You
night
okay there,
and the winter
Ryan?
night at home are beautiful, but they do not seem as captivating as this silent cold of the moonlit polar night. It is a marvelous feeling that grabs one. Did God create this whole great area for it to be abandoned and forgotten by humans? No. And again, no, certainly not. As Amundsen sailed his way back north,
Hey,
in
Amundsen
June
sounds like gone crazy.
1899, in the British Isles, another man was planning a trip south.
Oh,
Robert
Falcon
Falcon
Scott.
Scott was born June 6, 1868, in Devonport, England.
Cool name.
Strong name.
Strong.
Oh, Falcon Scott
Strong.
Amundsen.
He sounds like the real name of like a superhero, like
Yeah.
Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Falcon. It's badass. I've never met anybody
Falcon.
named Falcon. That's not a nickname. That's his actual birth-given
Actual
middle name.
birth name, yeah.
God damn, that's
Huh.
fucking cool.
Robert
Scott
Falcon
joined the
Scott.
Navy
Alright.
at age 12, impressing officers with his wits,
I've known
charisma,
David.
and enthusiasm. Chosen to lead an expedition
Oh, there we
south
go.
by the Royal Society and the Royal Geographical Society,
long did it go?
Scott and his crew left the UK on July 31st, 1901, establishing winter quarters on Ross Island in February of the following year. Ross Island is down in Antarctica.
It's not where a bunch of Rosses live.
Got there.
Rachel. I love Rachel. No,
Yeah, we have
That's some Friends humor.
I'm not even
friend.
reacting to it because I don't.
Poor
On
Sarah.
November 2nd, Scott set
I've
off
had no
with 2
questions,
companions
surprisingly.
and a sledge pulled by 19 dogs in an attempt to reach the South Pole. The team laid food and supply depots in the snow as they set off so they could carry only what was necessary and still have food for their return trip. By December 30th, Scott and his 2 companions had made it to 82 degrees 17 minutes south, but had to turn back due to illness and hunger. Oh,
Ooh,
our first
uh-oh.
question. I
Oh,
was
here we
waiting
go.
for that one.
Yeah,
How
same.
far
What do you
away
got?
was Scott's team from the South Pole? A, about 4.6
4.6
miles.
miles.
B, about 46 miles. Or C, about 460 miles.
You're just moving the decimal.
Yeah, I am. So what? What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, Ryan, what do you got?
I put B46.
Yeah, I'm gonna say C, not even
It's like
close.
enough that it's like, oh, we're kind of
Got a
fucked, but
few
maybe
more
we could
feet
do
to
it.
go.
How about you, sir?
Like that?
I put
this
C
miles.
and I drew a C because I thought it was going to be a sea dog.
A seal?
but He didn't.
Oh well, too bad.
C,
I didn't
so
know.
I'll do a seal dog.
I just thought that would be the funniest.
Yeah, we'll give you a bonus jelly for a little sea dog.
You could
there.
do a solo sea dog.
solo sea dog.
Arr, 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 arr.
We love it.
Don't know why you went werewolf.
Well, a point to Sarah.
Oh, pickles.
Yes, not all
Pickles?
that close, really. Remember,
All that-
Antarctica is bigger than the USA. And once you're at the coast, you've still got quite the distance to the middle, and not a ton of transportation options. Scott's team didn't have experience with dogs, and traveling with them proved to be a disaster.
What? This
Uh-oh.
dude was like, yeah, just attach dogs to the sled, they'll know what to do.
He read the manual.
Yeah.
I wonder if he was
Balto.
just like,
Balto.
right?
Fucks.
Go wrong way, wrong way.
It's a good movie.
I mean, he
Is
does.
that the sequel?
Balto fucks. Yeah, you're right.
What the fuck?
Scott and his two
version.
travel mates barely made it back to Ross Island
He'll
on
like it, the dog
February
here.
3rd, 1903, having covered 960 miles in 93 days. As Scott wrote, quote, "We are as spent as 3 persons can be." Their ship frozen in ice, Scott and the remaining crew spent another winter in Antarctica, not returning to London until September of 1904, 3 years after they'd left. The scientific community praised their work, but Scott simply wasn't satisfied. 3 years
He wanted
later,
that
Scott
hole.
was planning another trip to Antarctica, and this time his goal was simple: to be the first man to reach the South Pole.
You know what the crazy thing is? He could just be like, I did it.
He could have
That's
just
it.
Yeah, you could have claimed
I made
it.
it. You want
was
to go
cold.
check my work? You won't be able to.
Yeah.
And then that would be like their version of like the people who think the moon landing is fake.
Exactly.
While
True.
it took him a long time.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Like, gotta be cold. You could have easily like said, "Hey, I went there, made a flag. There it is. Boom, South Pole. Bada boom, bada bing." Like, how would you even know they reached the South Pole? Like, no one's reached it before, so I don't even know. I'm just asking out of curiosity, you know. But you know what's up, anyway, right? Anyway.
Time to raise money for this second expedition, a crew was surprisingly easy to source. 8,000 people volunteered to risk their lives under Scott's command. Having learned much from his first trip down, Scott devised a
this
new
started good.
plan to actually achieve the pole.
Oh, here we go.
Ooh.
Okay.
What was Scott's plan? A, same as the last time, but double the dogs and double the men.
Shit, he double dog dared himself.
Pretty
B,
much.
training polar bears to pull the sledges.
No way.
Or
That's even
C,
near them.
unused technology and horses.
God, I wish it was the polar bear one. They're fucking vicious, polar bears.
They're considered hyper carnivores.
Yeah, they're the most
Cool.
violent bear by a wide margin.
You ever see those guys just going to town on a penguin?
Yeah, and they're just covered in blood
Yeah.
because their white fur just soaks it up. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Ryan, what do you got?
I didn't
I'm
just
hitting A.
double
Wow.
dog dare. He doubled them up.
Yeah, why not?
Sarah, how about you?
I also
If it
said
worked the
A
first
'cause he
time.
seemed very bright.
Whoa.
So I feel like he was just like, more.
Okay, well, I think we're going to find out via the magic of
Ooh.
theater. Oh, by the way, are you guys getting chilly? God,
Yes, it's cold, Professor. I'm chilly.
are you chilly? Well,
I'm
you
a
got
little
I got a
chilly.
blinky. I'm good.
Maybe it's just the story, or I don't know if there's a draft in here, but whew, I got to bundle up. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit. Whoa!
Hi.
Eureka! With this plan, I shall surely make it to the South Pole. Wow, how exciting. What you got in store for us, Commander Scott? Okay, so dogs were a real pain last time, so I'm done with dogs.
Oh.
Well, I mean, you didn't spend any of these last 6 years learning about dogs? I don't need to. I've got a better plan. Experimental motor sledges that have never been used ever before.
Oh, was
Okay,
he?
cool, but
Dang, I should've
what
used
if
that.
those don't work? Thought of that. That's why we're bringing horses. Horses?
Horses
Go
in the
sink
Arctic?
straight into the snow. Not after we strap them into snowshoes. Okay,
What?
what about when we get to Beardmore Glacier and we have to climb like 3 kilometers? Are those horses gonna pull the sledges up that? No, of course not. Okay, we'll be carrying the sledges up the glacier. Now, who's excited for the best years of their lives? We're all going to die.
This
Yeah.
guy's, he's got that big old dunce cap on his head. They let
I
anybody
think it
on
actually
the
would have
ship
been more
do
dunce to
so.
Put
actually
shoes
not
on a
with
horse.
this.
That is a good
Yeah, I'm gonna be like,
idea.
I'm good.
That is fun.
Just.
Whoa!
What the? Where'd you get the parka?
Oh, that's better. I'm nice and snuggly now.
Oh my god, you look so cute.
I'm kind of giving
Look at him.
a monkey vibes, huh?
A little bit.
You
Kinda
look more
does.
human than ever, in a way. Like
you.
it looks like you have muscles.
I do. I mean, I do have muscles.
It also looks very tied up on your neck, like that one photo of Bernie Sanders.
You know what? He does look a lot like Bernie Sanders.
I am once again rewarding you a history point.
There it is. That's what I was
Hey.
To neither of you.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
that's fine.
Well, with the benefit of hindsight, the plan sounds bonkers. But Scott was trying to do something that had never been done before. On June 15th,
Motorized
1910,
sleds,
a
though?
week and a half after his 42nd birthday, Scott and his crew set off from Cardiff, Wales. During the journey south, storms claimed some of their equipment, like horses and coal. During one storm, a dog named Osmond was swept overboard by a giant wave. Oh, but
Poor
the
dog.
next wave washed him back on board. Yay!
Yay!
That's good.
Thank you,
That's
God.
so funny.
That's
oh my
fun.
God. That
It
dog must have
just
been
multiple
traumatized.
like, give me out, give me out, give me out.
Finally,
Thanks, Poseidon.
on January 4th, 1911, Scott and
I
his
would've gone
crew
with that.
anchored in the ice at McMurdo Sound. 2 of the motorized sledges were immediately put to work, hauling equipment from the ship to camp. But the third and largest sledge immediately broke through the ice and sank 60 fathoms into the sea. It took 2 weeks for the men to erect their 1,250 square foot
wah.
base camp. The seaweed-lined,
should've
basically
spread it out
single
more.
room space wasn't exactly cozy, but it was home. As all the pieces fell into place for his trek to the pole, Scott suddenly received some upsetting news.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. What was,
What was the bad news?
A, they were not alone. B, the other 2 sledges had also broken through the ice. Or C, Scott's wife and son were dead.
I'm ready.
Well, considering the title, A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like the start of
Competition coming aboard.
I like that.
I
There?
put A, they're not alone because the title of the episode is The Race to the South Pole.
Oh, interesting.
That's a good.
That's
so
That's
that
true.
was a context clue.
That's what I did too.
solid
Good
logic.
point of reasoning there.
Well,
Jelly bean for both of you.
Hey. that was right.
Yes,
Hopefully.
as John Carpenter knows, the worst thing that can happen when you think you're alone in Antarctica is not being alone in Antarctica. Unfortunately for Scott, this was no alien. No, it was Roald Amundsen.
Amundsen, hey,
had
welcome
landed
back, buddy.
in the Bay of Wales, a full 70 miles to the south. This was a total surprise. Scott had planned for a deliberate, scientific journey to the pole, but Amundsen's presence suddenly changed things. Scott's men were pretty upset that some Norwegian punk was trying to beat them in a race they didn't even know they were in. As Scott wrote to his wife, quote,
we go.
I don't know what to think of Amundsen's chances. You can rely,
rely
on
on
my
my
not saying
saying
or
or
doing
doing
anything
anything
foolish,
foolish.
only I'm afraid you must be prepared for finding our venture much belittled. After all, it is the work that counts, not the applause that follows.
Oh, were they talking all kinds of shit to each other too? That'd be great.
I feel like either these 2 parties are like gonna fight or party.
I think they're gonna fight.
So,
They're
how
fighting.
did Amundsen manage to organize this expedition without anyone in Scott's expedition knowing? A few years prior, in November of 1908,
Oh.
Amundsen announced to the Norwegian Geographical Society
I'm guessing
that
he
he
never
was
heard-
planning a new expedition. To be
North
the
Pole?
first person to reach the North Pole? Huh? Yeah, that's right. All this concern about the South Pole when no one had even been to the North Pole yet. As Amundsen was preparing to stand atop the globe, news broke that Frederick Cook, an old crewmate of Amundsen's on the Belgica, had made it to the North Pole. Days later, American Robert Peary claimed Cook was a fraud, and it was he who had made it to Santa's hometown. To this day, both claims are debated, but Amundsen didn't care about the details. His dream of being the first to reach the North Pole was thwarted. Nevertheless, the arrangements had already been made, and so, on June 7, 1910, Amundsen and a crew of 19 men left Svartskog on a boat borrowed from his childhood hero, Fridtjof Nansen. Friends and family waved Norwegian flags at the departing boat. On board, though, Amundsen had a dirty little secret.
We'll cover that one in a bit. That whole, Northern Pole expedition. Did it ever get settled on who reached it first? American or the Norwegian? I'm kind of curious now. Oh no. I'm just asking out of curiosity. So, I don't know who, because I'm really curious now. But anywho, well, time for another question. Let's see if we can get this one right. Again. Go.
Oh, what was
dirty little
his
secret.
dirty little secret? A, they were actually sailing to Antarctica. B, Amundsen had secretly succeeded in training polar bears to haul sledges, and one was in the hull. Or C,
Yeah, get there.
he would be picking up a whole second crew in southern Africa.
Okay.
Ryan, did you wear stripes earlier this season?
I think I might have, but it was a
I
long
think they gotta
sleeve
know.
It's a stripey season for you, huh?
shirt. It is a stripy season.
You look like a mime.
Thank you.
You look like a fucking mime. Yep. Oh, he's drink. Well, yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh, you
You
smashed
broke the
it
glass.
and
You got
you broke
glass
it
in your
and you're
hand.
pulling it out.
Ow!
now eat it.
Yeah.
Don't eat it. Don't.
Do it.
Yeah, okay. God.
Oh, impressive.
Okay, where is this going today?
Oh.
Really nice of
Are you
them.
done yet? Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna put A for Antarctica because I don't.
I'm gonna go see
Hey.
the second crew.
That's gonna be jelly beans for both of you. Hooray!
Oh.
Yes, Amundsen's crew and boat
What was
arrangements
it?
had been made with the intention of going to the North Pole. But Amundsen changed his intended target without telling anyone on board. As he later
Why?
wrote, quote, "It may possibly appear to many people that I was running a pretty big risk in thus putting off till the last moment the duty of informing my comrades of the very considerable detour we were to make. Suppose some of them, or perhaps all, had objected. It must be admitted that it was a great risk, but there were so many risks that had to be taken at that time. Basically, YOLO!
So is he the captain?
Shut up!
He is the captain.
It's interesting people's like devotion to like the captain. And
Hey,
the
Ryan,
devotion
cut up
to,
to
like,
me.
the hierarchy and
Oh,
stuff.
captain,
where,
there,
like,
captain.
Yes, yes,
yeah, exactly. Where they're like, he could do something as shitty as that, and you just be like, I guess we gotta go. We gotta,
Unless you have a little mutiny.
Oh.
I think this would be
delicious.
the ultimate test of that loyalty.
On January
Pretty much.
14th, 1911, about a week after Scott's crew had arrived, Amundsen
Okay.
landed in the Bay of Whales, Antarctica, and began setting up
Oh,
camp.
oh,
As he and his
America.
companions set up resupply depots for their eventual push to the pole, Amundsen wrote about his confusion surrounding Scott's decisions. His location was far superior to the Englishman's, and as for dogs, Amundsen wrote, quote, "Do not understand
little
what
spoiler
the
on that
English
one.
mean when they say they cannot use dogs
I think
here.
they could have used a
There
different
are
map.
no better draft
Kinda spoiled it a bit there,
under
huh?
these circumstances.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
this guy's got to be laughing, seeing the horses. He's like, look at these fucking clowns.
Well, because Norway is
What a
like, they're
moron.
used to this sort of similar environment,
I'm pretty sure a husky is president of Norway, as far as...
so it makes sense.
Be surprised if that's right.
the horses.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I got a feeling what's coming.
With both groups' resupply caches in position, the men settled into their respective winter camps. The trek to the pole would start when the sun returned in the summer, a round-trip journey that would be the same as going from New York to Wyoming. Wow.
It is long.
That's long.
All right, with our two outfits waiting at the starting line, we've got time to get a good look at the teams and pick our sides. Racing on behalf of King George V and the British Empire.
We got Robert Falcon
Scott.
Scott.
Scott has 2 motorized sledges and 9 of his original 19 ponies left, 2 of the lost horses having been eaten by what must have been very confused killer whales.
Womp womp.
Oh my god.
That's true.
That's crazy.
That's not a joke.
Poor
He
horses.
probably after that was like,
Yummy.
Give
What a
some more
fine
of that.
delicacy.
You got a taste for horse now.
Bigger bones than he's ever had.
I was about to say, and a penguin's nice and fatty, so it's probably delicious.
Yeah.
A horse is very muscular and gamey. It probably was like,
Yeah.
Just spit that shit back onto the boat.
imagine-
Thing sucks. Send it back.
A mangled, chewed horse corpse rocketing out of the water.
Phew.
For clothing, Scott and his men are outfitted with wool underwear and a windproof outer layer. 90 miles closer, racing for
Amundsen.
King Haakon VII and the proud populace of Norway, we have Roald Amundsen. Amundsen's crew will be carried on 7 sleds by 84 dogs wearing loose furs in the Inuit style.
Oh, here we go.
All right, for a jelly bean, who do you think's gonna be the first to the pole?
Oh, he certainly seems more prepared.
My money's on that guy
Yeah,
for
I think
sure.
I like the underdog, but you know, it seems like a no-brainer here.
Yeah.
As they waited,
Come
one
on,
of
Amundsen.
Amundsen's crew wrote what everyone was thinking. If you were not the first at the South Pole, you might just as well just stay at home.
Ooh. Youch.
Zing.
On September 8th, 1911, with the thermostat touching a balmy negative 38 degrees Celsius, Amundsen set off with 8 men pulled by 84 dogs. 3 days later, as the temperature dropped below negative 55 degrees Celsius, the alcohol in their compasses froze. On September 14th, they reached their first supply depot. But with frostbite setting in already, the men decided to leave the equipment and turn back. Amundsen was heartbroken.
How did they not all immediately get frostbite in like 15 minutes?
Well, I mean, they're bundled up, but
I
yeah.
mean, your face
Yeah, I
is
don't
still
think-
somewhat exposed.
The
I would-
face,
You
yeah,
have your
the-
eyeballs.
Yeah, ouch.
Yeah. Do the eyeballs?
I mean, nowadays we got
I
the
was
face.
about to wonder, at what temperature do your eyeballs freeze?
They probably got some nice goggles or something. Surely they had goggles then.
It's early
I mean, they were
1900s,
going-
they had goggles.
They got
North
goggles.
Pole, so they had
Definitely wore
something
goggles
for
in
it, you
Downton
know?
Abbey.
Yeah, these guys were probably steampunk as fuck, you know?
Yeah, sure they were.
His men, however,
You get it.
were furious. Back at camp on September 17th, Amundsen wrote, quote, "At the dinner table, I asked each individual what he thought of my actions. There was only one opinion, that I had acted correctly. This was a sad end to our excellent unity. Dissension was starting to seep in.
And the guy who said
Uh-oh.
that was like a guy who they hated.
Oh, no,
Right.
Captain.
think-
I think you did a real good decision making.
Shut
Shut the fuck
Bob.
up!
Fucking Bob,
Gosh, such a
kiss ass
loser.
Bob.
70 miles to the north, Robert Scott waited until November 1st to set off, hoping the improved weather would aid his ponies in their trek. Unfortunately, even with
Not
the
so much.
improved conditions, the ponies kept sinking up to their bellies, and before long, they were, converted into rations.
Yikes.
No.
Poor horses.
Could've
Nice
solved
way
that
to put
one.
it.
And there you go.
Neither were
Horses
real.
and ice don't
Each
mix.
man now had to lug 200 pounds through the damp snow, and many of the men began to be affected by snow blindness, which you may recall from that old Donner Party episode meant their
Yeah.
eyes were literally sunburned.
Sunburnt.
Yikes.
Ouch.
I'm freaking tired. Like,
And
I'm
this is
so
why you gotta wear
tired of
goggles in
hearing
the
this.
snow.
Like, I've never heard
Those
of anything
hurt.
that I want to do less.
You know, fun to go on an adventure, but not fun
Yeah,
to have sunburned
And this is why you gotta wear eye
Not
protection in the
really
snow.
worth it though. For
On
what essentially
reflection?
boils down to like a bar story. Like, oh yeah, I went to the South Pole. It was cold.
There's not much to see. Like, other places you explore is like find like some cool stuff or nature. This is just like it's snow.
Maybe I'm just not an adventurous guy though. I've never understood things like this. Like people who want to climb Everest. I don't get that either.
No thanks.
Sometimes when I fall on
good.
my snowboard, getting back up is really fucking hard. Like I get sweaty.
Well, that's concerning.
Wah.
As Scott's expedition progressed,
Same with-
his men kept growing
same with the skis for me.
and losing more weight. The clothes lacked ventilation, causing their sweat to freeze inside their jackets. Support groups were periodically sent back to the base camp until only 4 men remained for the final push. By January 16th, the group was only covering 5 to 7 miles a day, but they could sense that they were getting close. And with no signs of the Norwegian team, spirits were high. Suddenly, one of the 4 men, Bertie Bowers, called out.
Wait.
Bertie
We're
Bowers, huh?
getting close. Did they see a little stripy pole in the distance?
Yeah,
but, you know,
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
they're
How would you
doing
know?
cartography stuff.
I almost feel like it'd be better to just die out there because then there's like an air of mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, rather than come
Yeah, I
back.
feel like
and be
something's gonna
"Face for
happen."
shame."
I
Right.
prefer living.
Yeah. But if you had to go, you would love to freeze to death.
Sure.
I'd love to.
To a tro.
Provided that I froze in a funny position.
Yeah. Let's freeze you real quick. Let's see.
Let's see.
Nice.
Just
I want to
comes
be
up
like.
air.
I want to be like Rodin. Like.
Okay. Very nice.
There you go. Hi, welcome back.
What did Bertie Bowers have to say that was so important? A.
Hey.
Amundsen was only a mile behind them. B. There was an odd black spot on the horizon. Or C. He was about to die.
Or D, iceberg ahead.
How about almost some?
I farted.
Let's say this.
That's good too.
I'd be surprised if it was
Are we
this.
locked in?
Yeah.
All right, what you got?
Yeah, hey,
I'm gonna go B for the odd spot.
Be the black spot.
Oh, the black spot. Very
Where's
stupid. Hey, would you guys like to find out via the magic of theater?
If we must.
All right, hit me
Okay,
up.
I'll be right back. Bye.
Woo!
Oh,
Let's see
this sucks. This sucks so bad. Chin up, birdie, you old bird. We're on the forefront of man's knowledge of nature. We're mere hours away from being the first men to set foot at the South Pole.
I mean, right, I guess that'll be cool and all. I just,
What is it?
Hey, Bobby, we're the only people who have been down here, right?
Oh, my dear birdie, you really are losing it. Of course, it's only us.
And the only thing around here is ice, right? Blinding white ice?
God's own blank
Am I
canvas,
right?
pure as the driven snow.
Come on,
because
come on.
That's exactly what it is.
Right, then what's that black spot up there ahead of us?
Yeah, baby.
Where? Oh, that? Why, that's
That's a skeleton.
Looks to be a flag.
Which would mean,
Oh, which would mean we're not the first to the pole. Oh, shoot.
Oh my god, what a twist.
What a twist.
Knew it. Called it. Welcome back.
A jelly bean for Sarah.
Yay!
That's
As,
her.
as Scott wrote that night, quote, "This told us the whole story. The Norwegians have forestalled us and are first at the pole. It is a terrible disappointment, and I am very sorry for my loyal companions. Tomorrow we must march on the pole and then hasten home with all the speed we can compass. All the daydreams must go. It will be a wearisome return." I love this journal entry's just like, fuck.
Yeah, dude, I beefed
God
it.
damn it.
Beefed it hard this time, Scott.
My B, guys, my B.
I'm fucked up, Scott.
While Scott wrote about how tough the return would be, Amundsen was already most of the way through his. So how'd that crazy Norwegian end up first at the pole anyway? Well, let's backtrack a bit. After his first failed attempt, Amundsen waited for more than a month, until October 20th, to start again. Since they had already been through the first part of their journey, the beginning went swimmingly. By December 8th, they passed 88 degrees in 23 minutes. Until then, the furthest south anyone had been. And on December 14th,
Nice.
old Amundsen and his 4 companions became the first people to make it to the South Pole. For a few days, the men trekked about, taking measurements. As Amundsen wrote, "Here we are at the South Pole, an extremely flat snow plain, almost nothing uneven to see. The sun passes around the sky at practically the same height to shine and warm from a cloudless sky. It's quiet tonight and so peaceful. The dogs are all stretched out in the sun to enjoy, despite the slight hustle and bustle. Apparently, life is pretty good."
I'd pay
Come on,
anything
Amundsen.
to see the moment when, after it wore off that they got there, they were like, "Yeah, we got here. We're the first."
Wow, there's
right.
nothing here to see.
It sounds like he's like feet up, hands back. He's
He's
like,
having a great time.
This is the lab,
this
guys. Flat
sucks.
snow plane. Hell yeah.
He's like, nice and sunny, the dogs are loving it.
He's trying to sell it to the rest of his team.
He literally says, apparently life is pretty good.
You know, I'm thinking of this through the lens of Ryan, because if I got there and it was just like a flat surface, I'd be like, what, should we do fucking snow
That's
angels
fucking
or,
rude.
or something?
On December 18th, almost a full month before Scott and his crew would even arrive, Amundsen and his crew prepared to leave, setting up a small tent as a monument. Inside, Amundsen left behind his, quote, sextant with horizon glass, a hypsometer, 3 reindeer skin foot bags, some comics, and mittens, and incidentally, some trifles. In addition to that pile of equipment and clothing, Amundsen left 2 letters. One addressed to the King of Norway, and
Nice,
the other
Amundsen.
addressed to one Robert Falcon Scott.
Oh my god, I wanted to know that so
That's
bad.
probably very petty. Very, very
Yeah, it's
I
like,
don't know everything about
eat
this
you there,
guy,
suckers!
but I feel like he's gonna be humble. You know, they had a lot in common. They both wanted to reach the South Pole. He probably knows his struggle. He's probably the only person who knows.
Game
mine.
recognizes
Yeah,
game.
game recognized game. Exactly.
If they had left a little later, they might pass each other in the snow and all give each other high fives, you know?
It's possible.
Good game, good
True,
game.
true.
Nice hustle.
Maybe
try,
he was
though.
gracious in victory.
So that's a
knows?
point for you both for guessing that Amundsen would get there first.
Nice.
Amen.
Rats. On
That's a lot of
January
that.
17th, 1912, Captain Scott read a letter left for him on the bottom of the planet. Dear
See what it
Captain
says.
Scott, as you are probably the first to reach this area after us, I will ask you kindly forward this letter to King Haakon VII. If you can use any of the articles left in the tent, please do not hesitate to do so. With kind regards,
that's nice.
I wish you a safe return. Yours truly, Roald Amundsen.
It's kind of it's
was
like
actually
saying
kinda nice of him.
congratulations, but it's kind of
It's kind of like, hey, you got here too, huh?
wow.
Yeah.
You finally
Yeah,
got here.
sorry,
huh?
we missed
you my
each
little
other.
delivery boy.
Hold on to my
boy.
pocket.
Hold on to my pocket.
Understandably,
pocket.
this was a blow to the Brits' morale. Scott left a note of his own in the Norwegians' tent to confirm they'd made it. Quote, "We built a cairn, put up our poor, slighted Union Jack, and photographed ourselves. Mighty cold work, all of it." In his own journal, Scott was only slightly more candid, writing, "Great God, this is an awful place, and terrible enough for us to have labored to it without the reward of priority."
Oof.
Maybe this guy shouldn't be an adventurer.
I
It's
don't
like
think so.
Yeah,
it's sort of like, you know,
that's
I feel
messed
like
up.
for some people it's like
It's
you
all
know,
about
the
being
journey
first.
Is the
That
prize.
sucks.
I think clearly if you're willing to endanger this many lives, you're clearly in it for the glory, not for like, I'm
Amen.
gonna feed my adventurous spirit.
The next day, the team started their long, bitter trek back. Frostbite and hypothermia were starting to set in. By February 16th, one of Scott's men had fallen behind. He was found on his knees, clothing in disarray, hands bare and irreparably frostbit. Shortly after midnight, he died. On March 5th, another of Scott's men left their shelter in his socks. As Scott wrote, quote, "We knew that poor Oates was walking to his death, but though we tried to dissuade him, we knew it was the act of a brave man and an English gentleman." Sure.
Maybe he just
Sure, whatever you
went out
say,
to
buddy.
Take out the trash and thought he could get back into the tent in time. And
He
Oh, yeah,
just,
maybe he
I
had to
guess he
pee
didn't
really
want
bad.
to, like,
I'll
you know.
do this. No need to put on my shoes. I'll be out there in a second. Oh, my feet are frozen.
Must have been tough
I'm dead.
to poop and pee out there, huh?
You know what's tough? to freeze to death and get second place.
Oh yeah, you would not want to be pooping and peeing out there, definitely.
Yeah. By the
Yeah, it really does sound like the, sounds like the thought of them not being the first ones there really hitting Scott's men hard. Like, you have to admit, right? They just, ouch. I feel bad for these guys, like, you know what I mean, right? Anyway, guess they didn't want to deal with the dishonor of just missing out by a day or a month. Hard to say. Still, it's gotta hurt. Anyway.
the end of March, the surviving members of the party could see the writing on the wall. In one of his final journal entries, Scott wrote, quote, "Had we lived, I should have had a tale to tell of the hardihood, endurance, and courage of my companions, which would have stirred the heart of every Englishman. These rough notes and our dead bodies must tell the tale."
He died?
This bitch died?
Yeah, well, Scott's last entry was made March 29th, 1912, but it would not be read until November 12th, when the tent with the bodies of the last remaining men was found. Rip to those
Damn.
men!
I can't believe he
Oof.
died out there.
He died.
Damn, dude.
Died of a broken
That's a
heart.
tough way for Falcon to go.
Born a falcon, died a frozen turkey.
I guess the moral of the story is, even if you have a cool name, that doesn't mean you can do anything.
That's right. On March 8th,
Pretty much.
1912, while Scott was mere weeks away from a frozen death, Amundsen reached Australia with news that he had won the race he forced Scott into. He immediately began touring the lecture circuit, though not everyone was a fan, viewing Amundsen's secrecy at the outset as unsportsmanlike.
I think it definitely is, but it's also like, he would have died anyway, I think.
Yeah, he didn't have the equipment or the personnel to make this a successful journey regardless, so.
It's not like Amundsen was like putting oil on the tracks or like, you
Yeah.
know, putting out some
True.
nails. or
Yeah, throwing out some
anything, like-
banana
that'd
peels
be
or
funny.
something for his
Yeah.
horses to slip on.
Mario Kart.
For almost a year, Amundsen toured with no knowledge of Scott's fate. Finally, on February 10th, 1913, news reached the world that Scott, too, had made it to the South Pole, but had died on the return trip. Scott was immediately heralded as a hero, and the public kick-started what would be over $6 million today for his widow and son. For the rest of his life, Amundsen was deeply upset by the fact that Scott hadn't made it back from the pole, probably regretting the dick letter he'd left a doomed man. Amundsen would eventually make it to the North Pole as well, becoming the first to reach both. Amundsen's reputation
Yeah, Amundsen.
remained stained until the 1960s, when Scott's family published the captain's journals, showing the public that, well, frankly, Scott was pretty bad at his job. Apart from the mistakes with the motorized sledges and ponies, Scott hadn't planned for the amount of calories he and his men would burn, and had outfitted the expedition with the wrong kind of clothing. In short, he was doomed from the outset.
He beefed it on every level.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
like, what do we need?
British heroism, not the best
Yeah,
thing.
seriously.
He
They
spent
tend to
so
reward
long
the
making
idiots with
snowshoes for
heroism,
horses.
don't they?
Yeah.
He forgot to pack
Roger, like
some
cavalry,
salt pork.
Scott
to pack a
here.
Yeah.
Guy that was trying to look for
Here's
the
gonna be free
Northwest
chewing gum.
Passage.
Shut up, I'm working
You
on
get the
these
idea, right?
These horseshoes.
And how did things turn out for Amundsen? Well, in June of 1928, he
Oh.
set out to attempt and rescue a plane that had crashed in the North Pole. And he never returned. His body was never recovered, finally claimed by the ice he'd spent his entire life conquering.
This happens a lot.
Poetic.
Yeah, kind of a
Ouch.
noble end.
Pretty is
That's kind of how they
proactive.
want to go. So.
2 men trying
Yeah,
to
do you
reach the
think as
South
he was
Pole,
freezing to
both
death, he was
claimed
like,
by the ice.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Well, he was
Honestly, this kind of kicks ass.
Part of me is like exploration's cool.
How did he
and
die,
I think it's
though?
important,
Like,
but
I'm
I
kinda
also
curious
am,
now.
like, too much free time.
Okay, it's fun to race,
Fun to race.
you know, until it's not.
Except in the
Well,
cold.
that concludes our history lesson. After our dutiful scorekeeper finishes up her tabulations, we'll find out who earns the coveted cap and title of History Wizard. But in the meantime, enjoy this special performance from the continent of Antarctica. Whoa!
Wow.
Literally the biggest one here.
Oh, that they got the
And
continent
so
of
about 4
Antarctica.
points
That's a
this
big
time.
get.
Nice. Oh wow.
I added a little, I hope, to the knowledge gleaned by Captain Cook, Sir James Ross, and other explorers before me. But I've only touched the fringe of things.
Way down at the bottom of the world, there's a desert where the penguins roam. The breeze sweeps across the icy sheets. It's a lonely place to call your home. In frigid air, the Arctic hare sits and listens to the orcas' cries. Charcoal-winged albatross float flecked across the cobalt sky. And I don't need any more than what I got. And won't you please send my regards to Captain Scott? 'Cause he stepped foot upon my shores, and before long he was no more. It's a drag-out race to the bottom of the world. I hope he found what he was looking for.
The whole continent. Vast, mysterious, inhospitable. And still, to all intents and purposes, unknown.
Ship pitch southwesterly swell, birds on the starboard hand. Keen eyes shielding blinding skies, fixed upon the looming land. Slip swift past the Crozier cliffs, wondering what glory awaits. Boots down on the Burward ground, slow and steady pull of fate. I don't need any more than what I got. And won't you please send my regards to
The
Captain
Captain Scott.
'Cause he's
I have put upon my shore.
and before
For long he was no more.
It's a
Drag out race to the bottom of the world.
I hope he found
Found
what he was
looking
40
for.
pounds of biscuits in his coal to burn. Oh, he's getting buckish, they might have worms. We're cutting through and getting stuck in your bones. And you never ever felt so far away from home. Digging out the sledges when the sun comes up. Trudging into nothing on a pemmican gut. Ponies having trouble jumping floor to floor. And you never ever felt so far away from home. I don't need any more than what I got. Send my regards to Captain Robert Falcon Scott, 'cause he stepped foot upon my shores, and before long he was no more. It's a drag-out race to the bottom of the world. I hope he found what he was looking for.
Captain,
Yeah.
this Antarctic of yours is a cold, cool place.
Oh, man.
Wow, that was really moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually
Really
felt
kind of
good.
somber and touching.
I'm so sad it's the last song of the season. I can't believe it.
Wow, that was really good.
And that was my next.
Whoa!
Oh my
Hi, welcome back. You got a hoodie now.
Chillingly spectacular
There you go.
number. All right, it's time to wrap this up. Hey,
What you
Mom,
got?
according to your tabulations, who receives the coveted cap and title of History Wizard?
I can't believe it's already the season finale.
I know, what a chill season.
Well, after all that commotion last year, I think we all deserve a little peace and quiet for a change.
Peril
Amen.
is compelling, but also pretty exhausting.
That's true, that's true.
Well, hey, it's not like nothing happened. I mean, your mother got a degree in math, and I'm DPing on Dune too. Then he's got me flying out to Abu Dhabi on Monday.
Wow.
Really?
That's crazy.
God damn.
Congrats to you both. Man, it's so weird. This is usually the point where a false sense of security gives way to some shocking turn of events.
That's true. That's true.
I'm just looking behind me to make sure. 3, 2, 1.
Anyway, who won?
Oh, okay, there it goes. Sarah, congratulations!
Congratulations, Sarah! Come collect your coveted cap, which you have so rightly earned.
I like how they just took a second to realize.
Okay, well, you know,
Where is it?
could've been gracious.
Where is
There's one
it?
for
History Wizard. Oh.
Mom made one for Beef Boy too.
Oh, you get a hat too.
Oh, look, the
Look at
letters are
that.
finally back.
Well, you're a big beef boy. And you deserve that.
Beef.
Oh, I'm just, you know, I was gonna put it over the beanie, but it didn't
Yeah,
fit.
bad idea.
Looks so great on you guys. Well, look, I think that about wraps it up. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today. Ryan, thanks for being a friend. And to all of you at home, thanks for watching Puppet History, where the details are always
a little fuzzy.
We'll see you next season. Deuces. Woo!
Alright. You guys hear that? I just sworn I heard something back there, but it might have been a voice crack. Oh well. There you go. The story of Cactus Scott and the race to the South Pole. Ooh. Yeah, British heroism. Not really cracked up to be. You gotta die to get it, apparently. And that's pretty much the takeaway of all this, you know? And others. Don't forget that. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think of the story. Adios.